when you look at the crowds today, you have maybe 5,000-6,000 people here. On the streets yesterday, 1 million people, 1 million Iranians in the street for the Ayatollah Khomeini. Does that not give you concern? Does that not make you afraid?
Because they are afraid, yeah, that's right. And most of the people don't say anything because they are afraid. And they are in silence, you know, they don't say anything.
Is this the silent majority of Iran out here now?
Yes, that's right.
Do you want the Shah to return?
Yes, Shah, return to the country.
What about you, Shah? Why do you want the Shah? Why does she want the
Shah?
ما شاه میخوایم ما بیچاره این
شادی کشتنش حلاله کجای قرآن گفته
47 years we've been bleeding in the dark, under the shadow of the Islamic regime, with a stone-cold heart. They silenced our voices, they turned off our light. 58 days without internet, but we still fought the night. Our children took the streets, they raised their empty hands, and the world looked away. Do you understand? Do you know Europe? Do you know what's been done? Do you know Europe? 42,000 souls are gone, killed in 2 days by a regime drenched in blood. Do you know Europe? Or have you just given up? Do you know Europe? Do you feel anything at all? Or did something break inside you while Iran answered the call? Do you know Europe? 42,000 lives, 2 days, that's all it took. Mothers and fathers and sons, did you even look? We stand with Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, our hope and voice. Millions behind him marching, he is our only choice. He only fights for freedom, democracy and human rights. But you mock him in your chambers while he fights for our lives, to pull us out of this darkness, this century-long night, while you sign deals with our killers and call it diplomatic right. Do you know Europe? Do you know what's been done? Do you know Europe? They hang 60, 40 souls one by one, hanged within 4 months by a regime drenched in blood. Do you know Europe? Or have you just given up? Do you know Europe? Do you feel anything at all? Or did something break inside you while Iran answered the call? Do you know Europe? What happened to you, Europe? What made you so cold? What turned your heart to stone? while our story went untold. Is oil worth more than blood? Is silence worth the shame? Because while you negotiate with murderers, we are dying, calling your name. Do you know Europe? Do you know what's been done? Do you know Europe? 42,000 souls are gone, killed in 2 days by a regime drenched in blood. Do you know Europe? Or have you just given up? Do you know Europe? We are still here. We are still strong. Do you know Europe? How much longer? How much longer? How long? Do you know Europe?
To all of our friends around the world, under the yoke of the Islamic Republic, Iran is identified in your minds with terrorism, extremism, and poverty. The real Iran is a different Iran, a beautiful, peace-loving, and flourishing Iran. It is the Iran that existed before the Islamic Republic, and it is the Iran that will rise again from its ashes the day the Islamic Republic falls. So let me be clear about how a free Iran will act towards its neighbors and the world after the fall of this regime. In security and foreign policy, Iran's nuclear military program will end. Support for terrorist groups will cease immediately. A free Iran will work with regional and global partners to confront terrorism, organized crime, drug trafficking, and extremist Islamism. Iran will act as a friend and a stabilizing force in the region, and it will be a responsible partner in global security. In diplomacy, relations with the United States will be normalized, and our friendship with America and her people will be restored. The State of Israel will be recognized immediately. We will pursue the expansion of the Abraham Accords into the Cyrus Accords, bringing together a free Iran, Israel, and the Arab world. A new chapter will begin, grounded in mutual recognition, sovereignty, and national interest. In energy, Iran holds some of the largest oil and gas reserves in the world. A free Iran will become a reliable energy supplier to the free world. Policymaking will be transparent. Iran's actions will be responsible. Prices will be predictable. In transparency and governance, Iran will adopt and enforce international standards. Money laundering will be confronted. Organized corruption will be dismantled. Public institutions will answer to the people. In the economy, Iran is one of the world's last great untapped markets. Our population is educated, modern, with a diaspora that connects it to the four corners of the world. A democratic Iran will open its economy to trade, investment, and innovation, and Iran will seek to invest in the world. Opportunity will replace isolation. This is not an abstract vision. It is a practical one, grounded in national interest, stability, and cooperation. To achieve this, now is the time to stand with the Iranian people. The fall of the Islamic Republic and the establishment of a secular, democratic government in Iran will not only restore dignity to my people, it will benefit the region and the world. A free Iran will be a force for peace, for prosperity, and for partnership.
وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه روبروم یه واژه یه هدف به نام انتقامه پشت سرم دعای مادر و تو دستم تفنگ بابامه رو زبونم اسم شاه بگینین عشق بی انتفاست هر جا اسم ایران اومد اونجا صدای بچه رضاست فردا می نویسم تو کتاب قصه دیمار بگو با تیر جنگی کشتن بچه های بیگناه رو بگو از بخت مادرها شیر زنا و دخترامون بگو تنها شهید شدیم تا تنها نمونه شامون وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه
سلام من به تو یار قدیمی منم همون هوادار قدیم
سید سلام چطوری مرد کلی کتلت شدین دایی بدون مدرک سلام بسیجی قهرمان رفتی پیش توسی با پنیر و یه نون سنگک سلام به محفل قرآنیتون سلام به مدیرای بحرانیتون سلام به حاجی اکبر و طوله هاش و خارج و رفقای ارگانیتون سلام به دزدای پول ملت که تش میفتین توی تور ملت سلام به همه شما کرکسایی که دارین نونتون رو میزنین تو خون ملت تا که تش زیر دست و پاک و تک بخورین حالا هی به یه بادکنک بدوین سلام آخر تو زندان باشه وقتی قرار به این آب خنک بخورین مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا اینو بگذاریم به خاک میرسیم تجزیه طلبی که به خاک بیرسیم ایران مردمش وطن پرستن از کرد تا بلوچ بری به فاک بیرسی توف به هر چی مرسی است توف به هر کی در پی تجزیه است توف به لوی و همونی که شیفته ی گل ملیگران تو وطن خدا نسلی هست سر کردستان همه برپا شدن بلوچستان فدای مهسا شدن شم واحد که شیر و خورشید ما بقی جعلیا تنها شدن شادی باشه واسه همه در میهن کور بشه چه شهرچی اهریمن رخه رو بگید اون 6 کلاس سواد و خبرگان و مجد سری ترجیحن شبهای عروس و دامادی باشه برن سلامتی نوش کنن و آبادی باشه لحظت کجاست میدون شهیاده به سمت اتوبان آزادی باشه سلام به نسل ندید پدیدا نبودیم ندیدیم قدیمتی ما شاه بود تو شادی کل میزدین حالا شاه بر میگرده پیک میزنین مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا
فاهنگ به این خوشگلی با نوایده بود اسم این مشخواهن رو توش بیاریم ولی خب لازم بود دیگه فکر کنم با نوایده
Let's go. میخوام بگم از دلم، از عشق به این میهنم، به امید روز شکست دشمن شاه برمیگرده به وطن. برگشتن پهلوی وحشت هر اجنبی، بلند بگو همشهری شاه رضا پهلوی. نظام رسیده پرتگاه، بلند بگو جاوید شاه. برگشت شاه به میهن، دوای درد وطن. این آخرین نبرده، پهلوی برمیگرده. داره میاد پهلوی، زجه بزن سید علی. راه نجات وطن، پهلوی هموطن. ایران میشه گلستان، شاه که بیاد به ایران. ایران که شاه نداره، حساب کتاب نداره. آخون باید گم بشه، توپ تانک فشفشه. گم شو بیرون اجنبی، داره میاد پهلوی. فریاد بزن جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه. ما شاه میخوایم نه ملا، بذار بشنوه دنیا. ایرانی داد بزن، شاه تو فریاد بزن. برگشتن پهلوی وحشت هر اجنبی، بلند بگو هموطن. شاه رضا پهلوی، فریاد بزن جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه. بلند بگو جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه. فریاد بزن جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه. فریاد بزن جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه. بلند بگو جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه.
Look at us here today. We see so many flags representing so many nations. We know we are not alone, and we thank you for being with us. For all people around the world who stand today in unity with the Iranian people, this is not just because it's good for us, and you do it out of compassion and care for our rights to liberty and justice and equality and human rights. But understand that it is in your best interest too, to have, unlike this regime that has been propagating terror and radicalism, we the people of Iran are peacemakers and not warmongers. We like to be friends, especially with the free world. We'd like to be able to have the best neighborly relationship with the people of our area and the region, with the Arab countries, with Israel, and all our other neighbors. We are fighting for justice, we're fighting for human rights, we are fighting for liberty, we're fighting to put an end to all sorts of discrimination. Because as an Iranian, I stand here to tell you that I've dedicated 47 years of my life because I think that my country deserves far better than what we have right now. To now understand that their best remedy is to support the people of Iran, because ultimately a free Iran will be your best partner, not just to bring stability and peace, but it will be in your best economic interest and opportunities. Together we can prosper again, and the world will be so different once the Iranian people are free. I am here to guarantee a transition to secular democratic future. I am committed to be that leader of transition for you, so we can one day have the final opportunity to decide the fate of our country through a democratic, transparent process, through the ballot box and free elections. And let's make sure that this time, especially the free nations of this world and their governments, stand on the right side of history.
Well, Durud Patriots, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to day 149 of Iran Revolution Live with your wonderful and amazing host, Mr. Armin NAVABI.
And your wonderful and amazing host, GOLDIE GHAMARI.
Thank you. Armin, what is going on today?
Oh my God. Everybody's talking about the Abrahamic Accord, President Trump's new post. What are your thoughts on it?
So, on first glance, let me just pull up what I wrote on X because it kind of summarized my thoughts. So, my initial reaction to this, and I'd love to get your thoughts, is that forcing. So let me just pull up my X post here so I can read off of it. Wait, let me share my screen. So the way that I see this is forcing these countries to sign the Abraham Accords will further isolate and put pressure on the terrorist Islamic regime occupying Iran that is currently in a slow collapse, as well as isolate any Middle East country that refuses to sign a peace deal with Israel. Let me just read President Trump's statement in its entirety so that people know what we're referring to. So, President Trump posted earlier today, negotiations with the Islamic Republic of Iran are proceeding nicely. Again, it's interesting that he's clarifying and saying the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Yeah.
It will only be a great deal for all or no deal at all. Back to the battlefront and shooting, but bigger and stronger than ever before, and nobody wants that. During my discussions on Saturday with President Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates, Emir Tamam bin Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman. These names are too long. Okay, so basically, during my discussions on Saturday with Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, and Bahrain, I stated that after all the work done by the United States to try and pull this very complex puzzle together, this is a key part, guys. It should be mandatory that all of these countries, at a minimum, simultaneously sign on to the Abraham Accords. Those countries discussed are Saudi Arabia, the UAE, already a member, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, and Bahrain, already a member. It may be possible that one or two have a reason for not doing so, and that will be accepted. But most should be ready, willing, and able to make this settlement with Iran a far more historic event than it would otherwise be. The Abraham Accords have proven to be, for the countries involved, the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, Sudan, and Kazakhstan, a financial, economic, and social boom, even during this time of conflict and war, with the current members never even suggesting leaving or taking so much as even a pause. The reason for this is that the Abraham Accords have been great for them and will be even better for everybody and bring true power, strength, and peace to the Middle East for the first time in 5,000 years. It will be a document respected like no other that has ever been signed anywhere in the world. Its level of importance and prestige will be unparalleled. It should start with the immediate signing by Saudi Arabia and Qatar.
Ooh.
And everybody else should follow suit. If they don't, they should not be part of this deal, and that it shows bad intention. In speaking to numerous of the great leaders mentioned above, they would be honored as soon as our document is signed to have the Islamic Republic of Iran as part of the Abraham Accords. And we're going to dive into this, Armin. We're going to dive into this part. To have the Islamic Republic of Iran as part of the Abraham Accords. Wow, now that would be something special. This will be the most important deal that any of these great but always in conflict countries will ever sign. Nothing in the past or in the future will surpass it. Therefore, I am mandatorily requesting that all countries immediately sign the Abraham Accords, and that if Iran signs its agreement with me as President of the United States of America, it would be an honor to have them also be part of this unparalleled world coalition. The Middle East would be unified, powerful, and economically strong, and perhaps no other area anywhere in the world. By copy of this truth, I am asking my representatives to begin and successfully complete the process of signing these countries into the already historic Abraham Accords. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Wow.
Wow, indeed. Wow, indeed. By the way, if this ever happens, that is the end of the axis of resistance. It's the end of the Palestinian cause. Is the end of Palestine. It would be Israel's dominance in that area established indefinitely. Obviously, the Islamic Republic would never sign to this because that would require recognizing Israel. Iran would, for sure, and it wouldn't be the Abrahamic Accord. It would be the Cyrus Accord.
The Cyrus Accords, yeah.
Yes.
But that's the thing, Armin. Like a lot of people don't know this, but one of the core foundational pillars of the Islamic regime is its war with Israel, is this this mandate that they imposed upon themselves to liberate Quds or whatever, right? Like the fight with Israel is literally one of the core foundational pillars of the Islamic regime. In fact, when the Islamic regime took over in 1979, the first foreign terrorist or dignitary or whatever you want to call the guy that they brought to Iran literally 1 week after was Yasser Arafat. And they have been promoting the Palestinian cause ever since. And the Islamic regime in 1979 created Al-Quds Day. Like just like everything else about Palestine that's fake, even Al-Quds Day is fake. It's like a fake made up jihadi terrorist celebration that was created by the Islamic regime occupying Iran in 1979. So Armin, I don't see how the Islamic regime will ever agree to this, and that puts them in a very difficult position. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Sorry, I interrupted.
So yeah, you're so on point as usual with this. And the reason why this is so foundational within the Islamic Republic's ideology is because the foundation of the Islamic Republic ideology came from Sayyid Qutb through Nawab Safavi to Iran, which means that they have this globalist agenda of taking over the world. But the phase 2 of their plan is to take, phase 1 was to take Iran, phase 2 was to take the Middle East and North Africa, and Israel is in the way. And phase 3 of their plan is to destroy United States and take over the world. And because phase 2 of their plan, Israel is in the way, and this is getting rid of the Israel is part of the DNA of the Islamic Republic. And this is why we like to remind you, everybody all the time, that this is why the Islamic Republic is revolutionary. A lot of people keep saying IRGC, but they don't pay attention to what the I and also what the R stands for. The I doesn't stand for Iran, the I stands for Islam, and the R stands for revolutionary. Not that many people ask themselves, why are they revolutionary? Wouldn't you stop being revolutionary once you are successful in your revolution? Guys, this is the question that many people don't ask. And I ask them, have they not considered, usually when you do a revolution, once you topple the government in power and you're now in power, you stop being revolutionary and you become anti-revolutionary against the people who are trying to do a revolution against you. But the Islamic Republic continued to be revolutionary because their revolution was never against Pahlavi. Their revolution was against the entire world order, and Israel is now in the way. And that's why Israel is stopping the revolution, and that's why Israel has to go. This is within the DNA of the Islamic Republic, and if it ever changes, it's not the Islamic Republic anymore. And a government in Iran that signs anything like the Abrahamic Accords is not any longer the Islamic Republic. It's not any longer the Islamic Republic. That's why this would never happen. One thing that I suspect is that what President Trump is doing right now with bringing the Abrahamic Accords and connecting this to the talks, at least, of a deal with the regime, is that President Trump is basically taking advantage of the desperation of the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf to squeeze as much out of them as possible. Because what I suspect happened is that President Trump was basically signaling both to the Islamic Republic and these Arab countries that they were about to go to war, and these Arab countries were not ready. Even the UAE, who's interested in like the Islamic Republic going away, what they realize is that the Islamic Republic still has access to enough missiles to cause devastation, not on Israel, they can't do that, not on the United States because they can't do that, but on the UAE. And Saudi Arabia was panicking, potentially, because of the Hajj maybe, and they came begging President Trump that we need more protection before you do this. And President Trump took advantage of their desperation and like, well, if you want this from me, I want something from you. And basically is trying to corner them into this position, making them do something, trying to make them do something that seemed impossible. Like Saudi Arabia signing off to the Abrahamic Accord would be the end of the Palestinian cause. If they basically normalize relationship with Israel without making the two-state solution a condition, that would be the end of it. There will be no more Palestinian cause if these Arab countries sign that. And that's why this seemed like a very impossible thing for Saudi Arabia to do. But if now President Trump has so much leverage over Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar, saying that, well, I'm going to do my war, whether you want it or not, unless you sign this, then maybe they will be cornered into a position that they will sign this thing that seemed impossible just a few weeks ago. That's what I think is happening. Might be happening in this.
Yeah, I mean that's a very good analysis as well, and like I certainly I mean at this point, I mean who knows what's going on, and I've been monitoring President Trump's Truth Social posts. I mean he even posted this as well, right? So like before this this message, he's posted before and after as well, but so before that post, he said, I laugh at all the Democrats, rhinos, and fools who know nothing about the potential deal I am making with Iran. Things that haven't even been negotiated yet. Weak and ineffective people like failed Senator Tom Tillis, soon out of office, Bill Cassidy, who just suffered a massive primary loss, really bad Congressman Thomas Massey, a major sleazebag, who lost in a landslide to a great American patriot after showing tremendous disloyalty to his party, and almost all Democrats. People have totally lost their way, constantly supporting bad policy and even worse candidates, but are constantly critical of each and every fantastic win I have. These people should go home and rest. They do nothing but create division and loss. In other words, they are losers. The deal with Iran will either be a great and meaningful one, or there will be no deal. It will be the exact opposite of the JCPOA disaster negotiated by the failed Obama administration, which was a direct and open path to a nuclear weapon for Iran. No, I don't do deals like that. And then he also posted this image of don't forget the one, oh, let me share here. Don't forget the one who funded Iran and caused this war to happen, Obama. So he's shared that. And then going back here, the last one that he shared is this meme, which is Obama's like, let's negotiate. And then the terrorist's like, I will blow things up. And then Biden says, let's negotiate. And then terrorist says, I will blow things up. And then President Trump says, I will blow things up. And then the terrorist said, let's negotiate. So there you go.
So that means that President Trump is not at all thinking about releasing funds to the Islamic Republic or anything that resembles President Obama's JCPOA deal, which means that we're still where we were before. That means that, you know, many of the panic is not justified, at least not with the information we have right now. The MOU, like getting even close to signing an MOU, does not mean that we have a deal, does not mean that we're even close to making a deal. The gap between the red lines of the Islamic Republic and United States are still as wide as they used to be, and nothing has changed on either side. And more importantly than anything, the blockade still continues. So if people are saying that the regime is buying time, well, the time is not in their favor. The blockade is still on.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Well, I mean, the blockade is on regardless. Like, here's the thing. Nothing about the current situation has actually changed. The Islamic regime is still losing $500 million a day. The blockade is still on. The economic sanctions are still on. The pressure is still on. And President Trump has said that nothing is changing unless and until a deal is not just signed, but is implemented, right? And that's the key, because it's one thing to agree to something on a piece of paper, but it's another thing to actually honor the deal. And again, I can't see the Islamic regime agreeing to the terms of this deal, because agreeing to the and again, we don't know what the specific line by line items of the deal are, but what we do know is that there are 5 core objectives that President Trump wants to achieve, right? Those core objectives have been repeated over and over and over again by President Trump, by his administration, by people in the media. And those core objectives again are getting rid of the nuclear program, the United States going in and removing all of the nuclear dust, a severe limitation or complete end of the Islamic regime's missile program, stopping support for their terrorist proxy groups in the Middle East like Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and Hashd al-Shaabi and others, and finally, a full reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. None of those 5 conditions have been met. And the Islamic regime hasn't agreed to any of those 5 conditions yet. And Armin, here's the thing. If the Islamic regime were to stop funding its terrorist proxy groups in the Middle East, that's effectively the end of the Islamic regime. Because that means that that's one less layer of oppression on the Iranian people. Because right now, one of the reasons that the Iranian people can't rise up to overthrow the regime is because of these foreign terrorist groups that are in the Islamic regime in occupied Iran. They're being funded and paid by the Islamic regime to suppress the Iranian people.
Exactly. And the regime knows that if it gives up any of those, then they will be even more naked than they are right now.
Absolutely.
So that's why they resist that. I mean, they confirmed it. Like, they are saying it. They're saying it out loud that, yeah, we're not doing any of that. IRGC outlet just came out and denied that.
Yeah. So actually, Matt, why don't we go to the IRGC side?
Okay. I have a couple. Okay, here, let me see. Actually, Goldie, we have 2 IRGC news because Zolgad just came out.
Oh.
So we haven't been hearing from him.
Oh wow!
And
Oh my
he's
gosh!
Yeah, boom boom sheet.
A new character unlocked. We've been
New
speaking
character.
about Zolgad, but we haven't seen much of him. Guys, we've unlocked a new character on the Boom Boom Jihadi bingo sheet. Look at this.
Yes.
So
Top left, yeah.
yeah. So
Supreme
this is
security.
Zolgad up here.
Yes.
So he is the replacement for Larijani, who was boom boomed back in March or late March or early April. So he's part of the Supreme Dictators, sort of close to the Supreme Dictator. He's part of the Supreme Security Council. So there you go, guys. Another character unlocked on the Boom Boom Durka Jihadi bingo sheet. This guy right here, who I believe, Armin, and I love your thoughts on this. Is he like I believe he is working closely with Vahidi. Is that correct?
I was gonna exactly say exactly that. We think because he's supposed to be in two boxes. There should be two of him. One in the Supreme Security Council box, but also he should also be in the IRGC box because he's an IRGC general. He's not just a politician in the Supreme Security Council. He's also a military man. He's an IRGC general, so he should be in the IRGC box next to Vahidi.
Oh wow!
Yes. In fact, when Iranian analysts talk who's in charge in Iran right now, the names that they mention is Vahidi. He's the second person that they mention. Vahidi, Zolgad, Musavi, Abdullahi. Those are the names that they mention.
Where's Musavi?
Musavi is next to down there in the IRGC. From the bottom, the second row, all the way down there. He's a Hava Fazar commander, the aerospace. He's the replacement for Hajizadeh. So yeah, top.
I see. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that guy. Yes.
Okay.
He's important. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. So there you go, guys. New character unlocked. New character unlocked on the Durka Boom Boom bingo sheet. All right.
Yeah.
So what's Zolgad saying?
Okay, let me bring him up. Okay. Iran's top security official vows no retreat in first public message. So that's him speaking. And let's go here. Mohammad Bagher Zolgad, the secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, said in his first message to the Iranian public that the country would not step back. There would be no retreat, Zolgad said, adding that this had been shown on the military front, in diplomacy, and by the Islamic Republic supporters in the streets through what he called their resistance. He said Iran now needed unity and cohesion more than ever so that the American and Zionists would also be disappointed on that front. Zolgad described unity as another field in the struggle and said avoiding any divisive wars or actions would lead Iran to find victory. Do you know what this means, guys? Do you know what I think what this means? This means that there is division. This means that there's a lot of division. When Zolgad, in his first public address, comes out and says, we need unity and cohesion, why would he say that? That means that there is division. That means that the greatest... this is why Iran Revolution Live has been correct from the beginning. We have been saying from day one that the greatest weakness of the regime is the internal division. And this man, which is now the second most important official of the Islamic Republic, came out for the very first time and he's begging the regime people to stay united, meaning that this division is the most important thing on his mind. So much so that he brought him out from the shadows and into the public for him to make this statement. This shows that the so-called ceasefire by President Trump has really targeted exactly where the Islamic Republic is the most vulnerable. This is their Achilles heel, and the blockade and the ceasefire is hurting the Islamic Republic even more than the military operations. And this is why this man has came out from the shadows asking for unity. You wouldn't be asking for unity if you had unity. You would be coming out and asking for unity only if you have division and you're trying to fix that. So that's one IRGC update. We also have another IRGC update, which was in response to a earlier Al-Hadas report. So before I go to the IRGC response, let's go see what Al-Hadas news reported, and then IRGC came out and denied it. Okay. So this is according to I'm not saying this is true, okay? But what is true is there's reporting by Al-Hadas. We don't know if Al-Hadas is getting this correctly. And we also know it's true that IRGC came out and denied this, okay? So what did Al-Hadas report? This is what they reported. They're saying Iran is ready to transfer its highly enriched uranium out of the country, but has made the move conditional on the stockpile being sent to China. China, not the United States, and will also seek guarantees from Beijing before advancing a possible deal with Washington, Al-Hadas reported, citing informed sources. So that is a big deal, that claim, right? That is a big claim that the Islamic Republic is finally has agreed for the enriched uranium to leave Iran, but to China instead of the United States. However, very shortly after, the IRGC Tasnim news. So, guys, remember, people in our channel, they know that IRGC's main two media outlets are Fars News and Tasnim News, right? So, IRGC outlet denies Iran ready to transfer nuclear material abroad. So, let's read this, saying Iran has made no commitment. This is according to Tasnim News, which is IRGC, right? They're saying Iran has made no commitment in the current draft memorandum with the United States to transfer nuclear material out of the country or take any nuclear related action, the IRGC affiliated Tasnim News reported, denying a report by Al-Hadas. Tasnim said the Al-Hadas report on the details of negotiations was false and part of what it called a U.S. psychological operation. They're saying there is no sentence in the text of the memorandum that exists so far indicating readiness to transfer nuclear material abroad. By the way, guys, we shouldn't, even if this becomes a thing, obviously we should not trust this at all. China getting the enriched uranium means that the Islamic Republic could get it back. Okay. So Tasnim, this is what Tasnim said. Tasnim said, adding that Iran had not made any commitment regarding nuclear action in the document. And they continue saying the outlet also denied Al-Hadas's claim that the information came from Iranian sources, saying such assertions were false and the product of the imagination of this media outlet. So I'll tell you what I think is happening when it comes to this being reported and this being then denied, okay? And I say this with experience regarding this tactic from IRGC and other state media within the Islamic Republic, okay? So usually, and this might be the case here, usually what IRGC or other parts of the state in Iran, what they do is that they leak an information on purpose, acting like it was an oopsie, okay? They leak an information on purpose, and once that leaked information becomes news, they come and deny it, even though they leaked it themselves. So you might ask, why would they do that? And again, guys, they have done this so many times. This is like so repetitive now. And the reason why they do that is because they're trying to see what the pro-regime, how the pro-regime people would react to that possibility. That's what they do, because they can't just be so transparent and openly ask people about that, because that would make that they're considering it. So they would leak it themselves, then they will deny it, and they will monitor social media to see how pro-regime people, what the pro-regime people think of that. Does that make sense? This is their tactic, to see how much outrage that would cause if they just allow it to go to China. Yes, okay, there's that. Okay, so here's let me give you some good news. By the way, guys, we got a lot of super chats already. Thank you so much. We will read them in about 24 minutes. Okay, so don't think we're ignoring it. We will have a super chat time in 24 minutes. Okay, so then we had this interesting news. Look at this. This is good. FIFA threatened with U.S. lawsuit over Iran lion and sun flag ban at World Cup. So that's an interesting development. And guys, this is all good, because the more they talk about this, the more Iran will be back on the news. We need the US media to think and talk about Iran, because we don't want Iranian people to be forgotten. So this helps with that, right? So let's look at this update. A non-profit group has threatened FIFA with legal action in the United States unless it reverses a reported policy barring Iran's pre-revolutionary lion and sun flag from World Cup stadiums, The Atlantic reported on Monday. The Institute for Voices of Liberty, oh, I like that name. The Institute for Voices of Liberty sent a letter to FIFA through its legal counsel, Shahrokh Mukhtarzadeh, okay, obviously Iranian, Shahrokh Mukhtarzadeh, raising concerns over the reported restriction the Atlantic reported Monday. Mukhtarzadeh told the Atlantic by email that depending on FIFA's response or lack of response, a decision will be made to commence formal proceedings in Superior Court, State of California, or federal courts in California on a later date. The group's legal counsel said Saturday afternoon that FIFA had not responded 3 days after the letter was sent, saying, "We are preparing to commence appropriate legal proceedings in case of attempts by FIFA to exclude the lion and sun flag," they added. The Atlantic reported last week, citing sources with direct knowledge of FIFA's planning, that the organization's official guidance for World Cup venues would be to prohibit the pre-revolutionary Iranian flag during the tournament. That's pretty good, huh? Is that a good development, Goldie?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there were some, I mean, I don't know who started this lawsuit, but I know that a lot of Iranians were thinking about starting this, and I'm glad that this is happening, because this will keep Iran in the news, 100%. I mean, you and I and all the Iranians know all the drama and all the nonsense we had to deal with in Qatar when the FIFA World Cup was being held there, and how Iranians were being treated. You know, the Qatari police were arresting a lot of Iranians and handing them over to IRGC officials in Qatar. You know, these also include Iranians who were dual citizens or Iranians who were there from other countries. But, you know, they can't pull the same nonsense in the United States. So I think this is really important, and I think we definitely need to support this and to you know, raise awareness about this, because for FIFA to claim that the lion and sun flag is political is utter nonsense, especially when they allow, you know, the fake flag of the fake country of Palestine to fly. But then, you know, they also they have political symbols all the time, right? Like they have, like, you know, pride matches or whatever. That's political in and of itself, right? So and I'm not saying like that it's wrong, but I'm saying the hypocrisy really stands out when, you know, certain political flags and signs are allowed, but when it comes to the Iranian people, they're like, oh no, that's way too political, or whatever the case might be, and it's not allowed. So it's pretty much like selective, it's selective neutrality, which is not neutral at all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, isn't technically every flag of country political? Like,
No,
I mean, it's like, I don't know.
no, it's not. I mean, it's not necessarily, and I don't think. I mean, the line in sun flag represents Iran and the Iranian identity. But for them to make it into like a political symbol when the flag of Palestine is allowed, and the pride flag is allowed, it just shows the hypocrisy.
Because my understanding, political doesn't mean confrontational. Like your nation is a political identity. Your national identity is a political identity. Politics is not just conflict. Politics means people having a nation state. People having a nation is a political thing to have. So, given that, like, every single flag represents a nation state, which is a political identity,
Well,
and that's why every flag is inherently political.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it depends on the context, right? Like people who, let's say, go to a hockey game, let's say Canada versus US hockey game, and the Canadians are waving the Canada flag and Americans are waving the American flag. That's not a political statement. They're waving the Canadian flag because they're supporting the Canadian team, right? Same thing with the Americans. Americans are waving the American flag because they support the American team. It's not a political statement in that sense. So it's not political in that sense. And in this case, like,
I thought, yeah, sorry. No, the reason why I cited a political identity is because the hockey like the hockey team holding a Canadian flag, that is their identity as Canadians, which is basically a political identity. But again, it's basically
not a political statement. That's something a little different. A political statement would be like if someone takes like a pride flag to a hockey game. That's a political statement.
Okay. Well, you're the former politician, so I will submit to your understanding of
I mean, I could be wrong, but that's how I see it, right? Like it all depends on the context. It depends on the context for sure.
Right. Speaking of flags, look at this amazing person here. Hold on, look at this. Like, guys, even if you're one person, in wind and rain, you could just look at this. Like, isn't that a powerful statement? I don't know. This video just inspired me. Like, that's why there's no news attached to this. But I just wanted to thank
I know when this was. So this was on Saturday during the Iran rally in Toronto. That's right across from Mel Lastman Square. So this is close to the intersection of Yonge and Shepherd, just north of Yonge and Shepherd. And that's when Iranians were gathering to do like a human chain on Yonge Street to raise awareness about Iran. So this person's probably in the middle of the lane, and then everyone from the sides is chanting King Reza Pahlavi. Because Saturday was the day of like a really bad storm in Toronto.
But they still showed up.
People still showed up.
Yeah. Okay, we go back to the Islamic Republic. Okay. Let's see what Baghbaghu is saying. So the spokesperson for the Foreign Ministry of the Islamic Republic, Ismail Baghai. Should I play the video? I could just read the caption. I don't need to read the video. Should I play the video? Translate the video?
Up to you. I mean, people do like your translations, but it's up to you.
Okay. It's only under 2 minutes, so let's translate them. So this is the spokesperson of the Foreign Ministry of the Islamic Republic talking about, all this news about a deal. It's good to see what the most recent position is.
تحولاتی که در چند روز اخیر خبری شد محصول چند هفته گفتگو از طریق میانجی پاکستانی بوده. بعضی کشور
So you're saying all of these things that you're now hearing on the news, they're the result of multiple weeks of talking behind the scenes through Pakistan.
برای دیگه هم مساعی جمیله به خرج دادن در این مدت. بنابراین
So there were some other countries involved as well. I think he's probably talking about Qatar.
این که در زمینه بخش زیادی از موضوعات مورد گفتگو ما به یک جمع‌بندی رسیدیم امر درستی است. اما
Okay, so he's saying the part. So he's saying everything that is being discussed in the news. He's saying the part that we have come to an understanding with regards to what we should be talking about. That part is correct. Okay, so he's saying. So basically, he's trying to not make the pro-regime Iranians angry, right? That's what he's trying to do. He's saying all we have done is we come up with basically a framework on how to talk from now on. Like but he's saying but he's saying amma means but. So this is how he's now going to try to make the pro-regime people not angry by telling them that we didn't come up with a deal, right? So guys, just like in the United States, every time a deal is mentioned, anti-regime people were like, oh no, there shouldn't be a deal. There shouldn't be a deal. This guy is dealing with the same situation inside Iran from the pro-regime Iranians. So as soon as we hear that maybe there's a deal, so many people are like, no, there shouldn't be a deal. Exactly the same thing is happening among these Durka jihadi people. Every time there's a news that there might be a deal, the pro-regime people are coming out to say like, no. There shouldn't be a deal. We should be attacking the Americans and Israelis. So that's what he's trying to do. Like, but even though we had some understanding with the Americans, however,
اینکه بگیم که این به معنای این هست که امضای یک توافق قریب الوقوع است کسی نمیتواند چنین ادعایی بکند به همون.
So he's saying, but if anybody is making a claim that signing of a deal is imminent or is happening soon, that claim is false. Nobody can make that claim. That's what he's saying, which is good for us that he's saying that. Guys, this pressure that they have on them not to sign a deal makes it less likely for us to be able to get to a deal. So this just wanted to demonstrate this pressure that is on the regime.
دلایلی که بخشش خودتون گفتید به دلیل اینکه سیاست ورزی و تصمیم گیری در آمریکا دچار نوعی تذبذب نهادینه شده.
Oh my God, he's saying the reason why we can't get to a deal is because decision making in the United States is chaotic, has become fundamentally chaotic. Like the Americans don't even know what this is projection. Like he's making it seem like the Americans are just, they're chaotic. They don't know what deal they're making. One day they say something, the other day they say another thing. This is actually the thing that everybody is saying about them. Okay, so he's making the claim that we're making about the Islamic Republic. He's making that claim about the Americans, that like everything is a mess.
گرفتار چنین وضعیتی شده تغییرات مکرر مواضع یه بخشش
like he's saying the Americans constantly change their positions.
خبرنگار ایرنا اشاره کردن اینکه ظرف چند ساعت شما مواجه میشید با دیدگاه‌های متفاوت.
So like when we're talking to the Americans, even within few hours, we keep dealing with different viewpoints. Like, so he's making it seem like we don't even know who we're talking to in the United States. One minute they're saying something, another minute they're saying something else. It's so funny because that's them. This is projection, right?
خیلی وقتا متناقض و ضد و نقیض. خب این
I think their positions sometimes are contradictory.
روند هر گفتگویی رو دچار اشکال میکنه.
And like this makes that any type of negotiation with the Americans very problematic.
با وجود این ما همونطور که در میدان نبرد با اقتدار عمل کردیم در عرصه دیپلماسی.
See, people are saying this is hilarious. Yeah, people sketches saying this is hilarious. Yeah, so yeah, you're so Americans. Yeah, so volatile. It's so volatile. You guys, you can't trust the Americans. Like you make.
با اقتدار عمل کردیم در
And like, however, even though the Americans are acting like this, we have been very decisive in our behavior. Like we have been very like on point.
ما همونطور که در میدان نبرد با اقتدار عمل کردیم در
like in the same way that we have been acting very powerfully in the battlefield, in the same way.
دیپلماسی هم با چشمان باز با در نظر داشتن تجارب پیشین.
So just like how we have behaved, how we have acted in the battlefield, but also in the diplomacy field, we are going forward with open eyes and with taking our previous experiences with the Americans into mind
برای صیانت از منافع ملی ایران
for the sake of our national interest.
کوشش خواهیم.
Okay, so that was nonsense. But again, it's very helpful to listen because you could see what the internal politics within the Islamic Republic is like right now. One thing I was thinking about, it's interesting because just before I went live today, before the show, I was on the Persian Discord server because we saw that some Iranians are getting back online, and I was asking them how the situation is in Iran, and many of them were saying that, okay, it's really difficult. So many of people lost their job, people can't pay their rent. And it's very interesting because a lot of my friends also in Iran are coders and work with artificial intelligence. And now with that, and they had international clients, like they had clients outside of Iran. And now because of the internet, they can't connect with their clients anymore. So they had like really good high paying jobs because they were living in Iran, but their clients were outside of Iran. So that was a really good source of income for them. And now that the internet is cut, so many of these people don't have their clients anymore. Okay. And these are like really smart Iranians that know how to code, know how to use AI and stuff. So it's interesting because a few hours ago I was talking about this, but then when I came online, I saw exactly this news that was very relevant to the discussion that I was having on our Persian Discord server, which was like really, quite a coincidence because Iran is filled with people who are really tech savvy, and this has been one of the best jobs to have. And these are like really, really smart people, and you need access to internet for that, right? That's a huge part of the private sector, because the Islamic Republic destroys the private sector. As soon as any company gets too big enough, IRGC comes and takes it over and makes it part of the government. But these individual freelancing jobs have been immune from that because they don't make a company, and they're just at home working, and they're just their own one-man company, right? And that has been a really good source of revenue for a lot of young Iranians. And now all of that is gone. And not only all of that is gone, if this internet disconnection continues, they're going to fall behind from the rest of the world who has access to AI, and they keep getting experience. The rest of the world is getting more experience, and they're like completely disconnected, or they have to pay so much money for decent internet, which is really hard to get right now in Iran. So I saw this report by Iran International saying,
and Armin, it's not just the AI coders and things like that, because I've heard that a lot of young Iranians who ran businesses off of Instagram and social media. So, for example, like a piano teacher, or like a Farsi language teacher, or things like that. Like there were a lot of young Iranians who were very entrepreneurial, and they were using internet to connect with potential clients outside of Iran to offer various services, and all of their businesses have pretty much been shut down. They've lost all their income as well.
Yes, exactly. And Goldie, it's good that you mentioned Instagram, because for many businesses that are not even internet based, and they have physical products, or they have a store that they provide the service in their store, Instagram was their storefront. So even non-internet related businesses cannot find customers anymore, because in Iran, Instagram is very popular, and the main way for, if you're selling flowers, or if you're selling, if you're doing massages or whatever, or skincare, or fashion stuff, Instagram is the main way that you get known or get customers. And so many of these non-internet related businesses are also losing their customers now, right? And there's no alternative for it in the internal thing that they have in replacement, the intranet that they created, right? So here, this one is saying Iran's prolonged internet disruptions are shutting off a rare opening for young entrepreneurs to build low-cost businesses using artificial intelligence tools, according to a report by Sharq newspaper that warned the restrictions are crippling a generation of digital workers. Guys, right now, if you don't get experienced on how to use AI, you're going to fall behind from the rest of the world in whatever business you're in. And by cutting the internet from in Iran, a whole generation of Iranians are going to fall behind from the rest of the world if the internet doesn't come back on soon. This is going to be so hard to repair. Like, even if Iran eventually gets free, if it takes long, this gap is really hard to fix. This gap in experience and knowledge, this will take so long to overcome, because everything is changing so fast that even a small deviation from the growth of the rest of the world over 10 years, that gap would become so much higher. And I don't know how to deal with that information. This is important. We have Abbas Akbari Faizabadi. So the Islamic Republic executed Abbas Akbari Faizabadi, a detainee arrested during January protests in Isfahan province after the Supreme Court upheld his death sentence. The judiciary said on Monday. So, guys, as we're speaking, this is still happening.
It's devastating.
Right. Just wanted to remind you guys. Goldie, we have 3 minutes before super chat time. Do you have anything to show while I take a bio break? Be back. Or I could play Fox News video.
Well, yeah. Why don't we go to the recent Fox News video, and then we can go to the super chats after.
Okay. Let me bring that up. Okay. This is the recent one, so it's good. I'll be right back, guys. Okay. Usually, I'll be back fast.
President Trump working overtime this holiday weekend to hammer out a deal with Iran, saying there can be no mistakes.
That's right. The president posting this morning saying, in part, quote, the deal with Iran will either be a great and meaningful one or there will be no deal.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Inks is live in Tel Aviv with the very latest. Hi, Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. The Trump administration says the deal with Iran is 95% complete, but there are still some final details to be addressed. On a call yesterday with reporters, a senior administration official indicated the memorandum of understanding may take several days to reach because the Iranian system doesn't move as fast as the United States would like. The official added that the current plan is to formally end the war and open the Strait of Hormuz without tolls before eventually dealing with all enriched nuclear material in Iran and not permitting further enrichment. Now, Iran will receive billions of dollars worth of assets unfrozen, along with oil sanctions waivers. U.S. officials say that will only take place if they uphold their end of the bargain. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said this today.
Wait, guys, I need to correct what he said here. This is a common misunderstanding that I need to fix here. Look at this.
Yeah, hey guys.
Guys, the MOU, the memorandum of understanding is not the deal. 91st, he corrected it eventually, but being 95% to a memorandum of understanding is not the same as being 95% close to a deal. The memorandum of understanding creates the framework so that maybe eventually they create a path towards maybe moving towards a deal. So it's not accurate to say you're 95% to a deal when you're only 95% to getting to an MOU. So I don't know why people use that interchangeably. There's a difference. Do you guys agree with me on this?
Inks is
here. Look at this.
Live in Tel Aviv with the very latest. Hi, Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. The Trump administration says the deal with Iran is 95% complete, but there are still some final details.
So no, it's not the deal that is 95% complete. It's the MOU, the memorandum of understanding that is 95% complete.
Details to be addressed. On a call yesterday with reporters, a senior administration official indicated the memorandum of understanding may take several days to reach.
See, now this part is the correct part. Like, let me know if I'm misunderstanding this, because I think that's not the accurate way of describing it.
Because the Iranian system doesn't move as fast as the United States would like. The official added that the current plan is to formally end the war and open the Strait of Hormuz without tolls, before eventually dealing with all enriched nuclear material in Iran and not permitting further enrichment. Now, Iran will receive billions of dollars worth of assets unfrozen, along with oil sanctions waivers. U.S. officials say that will only take place if they uphold their end of the bargain. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said this today about the negotiations.
We're still a work in progress. We have what I think is a pretty solid thing on the table in terms of their ability to open up the straits, get the straits open, enter into a very real, significant, time-limited negotiation on the nuclear matters. And hopefully we can pull it off. It has a lot of support in the Gulf. It has a lot of support globally. Every country that we've walked through it understands it's not just very reasonable, but it's the right thing for the world to get done. As the president said, he's not in a hurry. He's not going to make a bad deal.
On Sunday, President Trump said in part on Truth Social, if I make a deal with Iran, it will be a good and proper one, not like the one made by Obama, which gave Iran massive amounts of cash and a clear and open path to a nuclear weapon. Our deal is the exact opposite, but nobody has seen it or knows what it is. It isn't even fully negotiated yet. Now, a military advisor to Iran's supreme leader also spoke about the negotiations.
Oh my God. The military advisor to the supreme leader. Guys, this guy is special and not in a good way. Okay, this guy. Oh my God, they killed so many IRGC leaders that they had to go to this guy. It's actually an embarrassment from the supreme leader, from the office of the supreme leadership, that they made him the main advisor there, because even the pro-regime people know that this guy is special. Even the pro-regime people know he's special. See, guys, he used to be IRGC, and Ali Khamenei hated him, so he was pushed aside by Ali Khamenei. If you look at the boom boom chart, that's him. Okay, but it's interesting because they say Mujtaba Khamenei now brought him as the main advisor so he was a former IRGC commander, and now they brought him to the house of the supreme leader as the main advisor to Mujtaba. I mean, if that's Mujtaba's main advisor for military stuff, then then that's good, because he's retarded.
Negotiations overnight, saying this.
About negotiation, the Islamic Republic has put the least costly path before you. The Islamic Republic is telling you that if you continue the war, we will make the American people miserable and the American economy miserable. Iran is here for a fair negotiation with you.
Guys, I kid you not. This guy ran for president, and part of his campaign was the promise that all the Americans in Iran, all the dual citizens, he said he had a plan for fixing Iran's economy. This was part of his campaign as a president. His solution to fixing Iran's economy is to go and kidnap all Iranian Americans inside Iran and tell United States to give, I don't know how much for each one of them, and that will solve Iran's economy. That was his actual campaign promise for running for president. Yeah.
And the American economy miserable. Iran is here for a fair negotiation with you.
The bottom line here, the Iranians will have to make serious concessions as it relates to their nuclear program in the Strait of Hormuz, or they are not going to receive any sanctions relief whatsoever. The president reiterating today he's either going to have a good deal or no deal at all. Guys?
Yeah, so Trey, had the opportunity to speak with the president this morning, and I know you've been doing some reporting behind the scenes as well on this. The president wanted to make clear that he didn't want to delay the nuclear program. He wanted to totally dismantle it. So he said that any indication that this is anything like Obama's deal, he said that's not true, because they're going to get.
Guys, I'm so glad that everybody is doing comparisons to Obama. That means that we're not going to get anything like Obama deal, okay? Because if we're supposed to be different from the Obama deal, that means that the Islamic Republic would collapse from any deal that is not like the Obama deal is a surrender deal. So this constant insistence of not doing anything like the Obama deal is really good for us.
Hit the dust if he's going to sign on the dotted line. What are you learning?
Yeah, absolutely. Administration officials are using this line, no dust, no dollars. And it's an indication President Trump is going to get that highly enriched uranium out of Iran, or the Iranians aren't going to receive any sort of sanctions relief. It's a very clear equation here, Lawrence. And when we look at the situation for the Iranians, they have to not only commit to not getting a nuclear weapon, but they also have to let excavators go in eventually and dig up that highly enriched uranium that was buried in the aftermath of Operation Midnight Hammer last summer, and then export it from the country. But the final part here is the advanced centrifuges that are used to enrich uranium at higher and higher levels. The Iranians have to dismantle all of this and make that commitment that they will never have a nuclear bomb, or there isn't going to be an agreement.
Trey, we've taken out many of Iranian leaders. How has that impacted the deal-making process and also the possible enforcement of a deal?
There's a reason that the Iranians have changed their tone at the negotiating table, and it's due to the military pressure that was exerted on the Iranian regime during Operation Epic Fury, where their military was decimated. Nearly the entirety of their navy was taken out in U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. And then you had this economic blockade of Iranian ports enforced by the U.S. Navy that put crippling economic pressure on the Iranian regime. And regional sources tell Fox News each and every day that this blockade is in place, it is weakening the Iranian regime and their ability to rebuild this military program. And so the president was looking at this from a multifaceted approach, and it put so much pressure on the Iranian leadership in Tehran that it forced them back to the negotiating table to make these concessions. And that's exactly what negotiators right now are working out, trying to determine what the timeline in all of this is going to look like and polishing up those final details toward a broader deal.
Yeah, we'll see if we get commitments.
All right, that's good. So now, guys, it's a super chat time. Yay. Thank you, guys. You guys are so we're already at so many super chats. So thank you for that. Let me bring the graphics for that. Oh, you have to remove this one. There we go. Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's respond. I'd like to see what you guys think. So you guys make me, whenever I see your thoughts, it gives me ideas on what to research and what to have ready for next time we have a stream together. Okay, so Aristotle, Plato saying, do the U.S. and Israel need a new tactic against IRGC? Well, so that's a very good question, and it's throughout all, like every single, if you look at historically modern military warfare, it's always dynamic. So not only the tactics change and get updated by the hour, even when they start, right? So it depends on what level, like how much of a change are you talking about when it comes to a new tactic. So I think there's tactics and there's strategy. I think the tactics are dynamic and change by the hour every single day, but the overall strategy, I think, should be the same, which is maximum pressure by any means necessary on the Islamic Republic and maximum support for the Iranian people. And that's what Prince Reza Pahlavi has always for years mentioned as what the strategy should be. So the strategy will be the same. The tactics will always change based on new realities on the ground and the way the level of success that the tactics have had. So you're always learning, you're always observing, you always are noticing the influence of what you've done and what worked and what didn't work, and changing tactics accordingly. Right? Okay. So thank you for the super chat. Expendable Labor, thank you for the super chat, saying Supreme chat. I hope the only thing holding the attacks up is that the Ukrainians are training the countries around the Islamic Republic to stop drones. Javid Shah. Ooh, It's interesting that you say that, because one theory that we suggested here on Iran Revolution Live is that the Arab countries were not yet ready to defend themselves against the Islamic Republic if military operations start. And we also know that Zelensky recently came to these Arab countries around the Persian Gulf to give them defense drone technology against the Islamic Republic. So it's interesting. That's a very interesting. And you're putting them next together. Maybe they're like, we need more time to get this right before the attacks start. Yeah, that is pretty interesting. Okay, yeah. Now I love that. And Javid Shah, you think Javid Shah, and Javid Shah, right back at you. Thank you. And also, Aristotle just became a member. Oh, no, you're celebrating your 4 months of membership by saying, are IRGC anti-West proxy for Russia and China?
Yeah.
That is a yes. Yeah. So they are. So it's interesting because IRGC has proxies, but they are also proxies of Russia and China. Yeah, as Goldie agrees as well. Very good way of looking at it, for sure. It's interesting because the IRGC would hate that being seen like that. They like to think of themselves as equal to Russia and China, which they're not. And they like to think of themselves as allies of China and Russia, and they're not allies. I mean, China and Russia doesn't see them as an ally. They see the IRGC as a tool, as useful idiots. And Lior just gifted 1 membership to a person on the chat on Liberty Politics YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Lior. 1 person is now a member in our chat because of Lior. Thank you for the gift, Lior. And then Nail Bunny is saying, thank you, Nail Bunny, for the super chat. Is saying, translation of truth post, of President Trump's truth post. All the other countries in the region are civilized. You're civilized, right? Islamic regime? Oh no, thought so. Trolling them. Okay. Okay. Yes, I like that. Okay, like, hey, if you want to be like the rest of us, you could do this civilized thing of normalizing a relationship with the rest of us. You're not going to do that. Actually, that's a very good point. Okay, because we're thinking, that's a very good point, because we're thinking, why would President Trump say that? Why would President Trump say for the Islamic Republic to join the Abrahamic Accord? Everybody knows the Islamic Republic is not going to normalize relationship with Israel. Well, the point is to demonstrate that everybody could act civilized except the Islamic Republic. That's a very okay. I see that in that framing. Okay, interesting. All right, and then we have Agent Anderson. Love that username. Saying, we've had peace with Egypt for half a century. Their textbooks and TV still teach kids to hate Israel and Jews, not peace in any real sense. Yeah, you have peace with the regime, but not with the people. In fact, Egypt is one of the worst places when it comes to the views of the population there. It's like really bad. One of the unfortunately, like, it's really hard unless you're talking to the Christian community there. Like so many bad takes in Egypt is like, I think like one of the worst countries is Pakistan when it comes to the population having the worst ideas. Egypt is probably the second runner-up, which is interesting that Egypt's government is has peace with Israel, even though they're ruling over a population that has some of the most bad ideas and garbage viewpoints and anti-Israeli and anti-Jewish, very anti-Jewish. I was watching Tal Oren, and every time he gets to an Egyptian, it's almost guaranteed that he's going to take the most disgusting, vile takes. And thank you, Agent
Armin, just a question for you. So based on that, so what's interesting in President Trump's Truth Social post, he said that he wants all countries to immediately sign, but then he says it may be possible that 1 or 2 have a reason for not doing so, and that will be accepted. but most should be ready, willing, and able. And then he specifically calls out Saudi Arabia and Qatar as, two countries that should immediately sign the Abraham Accords. So that basically leaves, so if we're looking at the countries here, so assuming that Saudi Arabia and Qatar are, going to sign, we'll see. The UAE is already a member and Bahrain is already a member. That pretty much leaves Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and Jordan of the possible countries that may or may not sign, right? Because in his post, like he says, it should start with the immediate signing by Saudi Arabia and Qatar. So Saudi Arabia and Qatar are out of the picture, which leaves Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and Jordan. That, one or two, which, might not want to sign the Abraham Accords. Honestly, I can't see any of the countries signing the Abraham Accords. Like, I don't know. It's he's put them in a very awkward position, I think.
So I think Pakistan will have the most difficulty because they have less control over their population than Egypt has over their population. So in all of these countries, if they become part of the Abrahamic Accord, the population would be very angry with the government. Okay. But Pakistan is terrified of its own population. It's like a failed state kind of situation.
Yeah.
So Pakistan were like, yeah, we're gonna die. We're gonna die. So I think they might be out. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Turkey is Muslim Brotherhood, right? Because Erdogan is part of the Muslim Brotherhood, so I can't see Turkey signing this. Egypt is de facto controlled by the Muslim Brotherhood. And then Jordan, well, Jordan, given the situation there, I can't see. I don't know.
Jordan is the most likely among that four.
You think so?
Agree? Yeah, because they are the most, they have already cooperated militarily with Israelis behind the scenes, right? And Jordan's government is just
behind the scenes.
Yes,
but Jordan has a problem. Like, they have a big problem with a lot of the Palestinian radicals.
Yes, for sure. But I'm only comparing it in comparison.
Yeah, that's true.
To the other three. Like, I'm not saying they're likely to do that. I'm just saying in comparison to the other three, they are maybe more likely. Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I don't see
like, I'm not speaking about the government of Jordan. I'm speaking about the challenges that Jordan would have, because there's a lot of, the radical Palestinians and, all those like radical elements of like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad and whatever that are ingrained into Jordanian society.
Yeah, if we had democracy in Jordan today, the first thing that would happen is that they would behead the royal family. So, so for being Zionists, actually, yeah. So you're right about that.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have Valerie. Valerie just became. Did I read the previous one? Yes, I did. Valerie just became a member. Thank you so much, Valerie, for being a member. Welcome to our community. And then we have Sharon with a super chat. Thank you so much. Saying Texas grandmother, 74. Oh, that's so sad. I think I was 27 when IRGC took power. They destroyed my generation of women, toppled this evil regime. Now I am out of patience.
Thank you. We agree with you. Topple the regime now. We're all sort of out of patience. So
yes.
hopefully we're getting to the end, and I think we are. Because this sort of this curveball that President Trump threw out with the Abraham Accords, I think that's going to shift a lot of things.
Yes, but as Goldie said, we completely understand why it's really hard. It's been 47 years. I mean, yeah. Roman Viking. Oh, yes, Roman Viking saying, could the post cause further division between Paidaris and pragmatists? Yes. I mean, pragmatist, quote unquote, right? And pragmatist because the recognition of the Zionist entity becomes part of the negotiation. It would terrify them. It would terrify them. It would make, yes, because from the Paidari camp, which is what we call the the ideological pressure camp, right? Or the Jalili camp, okay? They already make accusations on of Islamic regime officials being Zionists or Zionist spies, right? So you're so correct, because President Trump's post is going to make them think like, what would give President Trump the idea that the Islamic Republic would ever sign the Abrahamic Accord and be friends with Israel? Like, what would give him that idea other than the fact from their perspective that some regime officials are Zionist infiltrators? So yes, it, we're going to make them try to go on a manhunt more than they even are right now. Very good analysis there, Roman. And then we have another super chat by Fleshy Interloper saying, Durud, everyone remember to breathe. Okay. Good. Yes. Good recommendation, and thank you for the super chat. And then we have Spees board zapping. Thank you for the super chat, saying perhaps the call for cohesion is not just a call for unity to repair fractionism, but also a call for more external forces to suppress the people. More external forces. You mean like the militias, like Hashd al-Shabi, Zainab Fatimi from outside, like the from outside of the borders of Iran? The thing is that those people don't need a message of cohesion, they just need to get paid, right? They don't. This is the problem that the Islamic Republic has with its Iranian supporters compared to the Iraqi Shia militias or the Pakistani Shia militias or the Afghanistani Shia militias, is that they are not as involved in the regime's internal politics. They're like, your Shia, your Vilayat Faqih type of 12 Shia, that's good enough for us. Give us USDs, give us US dollars, and point to where we need to shoot at. Who do we kill? Where's our US dollars? Your Shia, that's good enough for us. Okay. They don't get into all of these nuanced, detailed discussions regarding Rouhani and Pezeshkian as like, we're just loyal to the Islamic Republic. Okay. Give us money, we'll shoot at whoever you want. The division is more. This is why the Islamic Republic is trying not to just replace us anti-regime Iranians. They're actually also interested in replacing the pro-regime Iranians with these foreigners from Africa, from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from Iraq, because they prefer these foreigners even to their own supporters inside Iran, because there's less drama. There's so much less drama. So I don't think they are dealing with much division among these foreign Shia forces. So that's only for the Iranian pro-regime people. But very good question. Let me know if that makes sense. Yeah, outsourcing the revolution, exactly. And importing the revolution apparently as well. In demographic engineering. And then we have Jonathan with another super chat. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Saying, Goldie and Armin, I am convinced Trump wants to strike, but he can't do it because use of the Arabs. I'm not sure how to fix the problem. Well, yes, it might be because of the Arabs are saying we're not ready, and maybe it's because of their influence. But I think maybe President Trump is playing this very strategically because of the Arab countries are asking President Trump for favors here. President Trump is now using the Abrahamic Accord as a way to get something from them in return, which will completely reshape geopolitics in the Middle East if he's successful with that. Yeah. And thank you for the super chat, Jonathan. And then we have Ancient Anderson gifting a membership to someone in Goldie's chat. So
Thank
somebody
you.
in Goldie's chat is a member now. Thanks to the gift from Agent Anderson. Thank you so much for your support, Agent. And Agent Anderson again with a super chat right after that. Saying IRGC just playing survive until the midterms. You're actually more correct than you think. You're actually even more correct than you think, because IRGC is thinking, let's survive the next 48 hours. You know, Patipto was telling us this. They're in such a fragile situation that from IRGC's perspective, if we wake up alive tomorrow, we have won that day. Right? So they are forced to think in short term. They can't really think in long term because they're dealing with survival on a day-to-day basis. But very good point. And Little Chilly, thank you so much for the super chat, saying, my Iranian American husband and I have been watching every day since day 3. Since day 3. Wow, you have been here for 146 days. Thank you so much for being by our side. Saying even today on his birthday. Oh my God, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Goldie, they're watching the Iran Revolution live. Even on their birthday, they're not skipping a day.
Happy birthday to your husband. Oh my gosh, now we have to play the birthday song. Well, no, we have to. I mean, I don't think it is. I don't know. I don't think the birthday song is copyrighted. Or you know what?
Okay,
you know what? Since we're worried about copyright, Armin, why don't you just sing it?
No. Okay. Tavallud Mubarak.
Mubarak, Tavalludet
Mubarak.
Biyashan Marufut Kon. Come on, Armin.
I don't know the rest.
Oh, you don't know the rest?
I can't memorize songs. The only song I know fully from the beginning to end is this. Baby Yoda, baby,
oh my
baby
gosh.
Yoda.
I'm going to copyright that. I'm going to copyright that so that you can never play that ever again. Too funny.
Okay. And I learned from you. So there you go.
Wow.
And happy birthday. And she's also saying, thank you both for all you do, Javid Shah.
Oh, thank you, Javid Shah. Hope you have a fantastic day with your husband on his birthday. Wish him a happy birthday from us. And if you are watching, Tavalludet Mubarak.
Tavalludet Mubarak.
Or actually, we should say Zadruzet Shad Bash.
Shad Bash, yes.
Zadruzet Shad Bash. There you go.
Yes, exactly.
That's the proper Persian way.
We were thinking the same thing. Okay. We have next super chat by PC. PC, thank you so much for the super chat, saying, Goldie, my mom who met JFK in person said in 2008 Obama is new JFK. She was very wrong. Yes, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Moms are allowed to make mistakes sometimes. Okay.
I think Obama fooled a lot of people. So I think he presented himself in one way and then he turned out to be a horrible person. So I wouldn't really blame your mom for that. Obama fooled a lot of people into thinking that he was a good person.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't blame your mom. It's okay. I mean, I'm sure I'm wrong about things, sometimes, because not everybody has to be correct about everything except Goldie. Okay, not all of us get to be Goldie. Not all of us get to be right all the time. Okay,
I'm not right all the time. I try to be right all the time, but who knows? Everyone makes mistakes, even me.
Okay. Lior is saying, we need a super chat time jingle. Baby Yoda. Oh, look at this. Lior was thinking like me ahead of time. Baby Yoda. No. Goldie says no. Okay, nice try, Lior. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I'm never going to live that down.
No, it's great though. It was great. Sarah with the super chat. Thank you, Sarah, saying super chat for super host. Oh, thank you, Sarah. That's so sweet. Saying love you both and chat. Love chat as well. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Yes. And we have another super chat by Bill. Bill is saying, is internet being restored in Iran? No.
People are buying VPN access on the black market, and some are able to, filter through using Starlink. But no, the internet is not back on. And there's actually an account on X called NetBlocks, and NetBlocks has been posting about this every day. So if I just pull it up, so like literally it's become like now, like just the first thing I do as soon as I wake up and I open my eyes is, even before I get out of bed, I go to X and I check the NetBlocks account to see what it is. So as you can see, and then NetBlocks, they've been fantastic. Like this NetBlocks account is like a real OG because they have been posting about this every single day. So they're saying it's now the 87th consecutive day of Iran's internet blackout, which has been in place for over 2,064 hours. The measure has eliminated any transparency around executions, adding to the inhumane conditions and daily uncertainty faced by jailed critics, dissidents, and tourists. So as you can see, here it is. Let me just go back to this view here so that you guys can see that. There you go. So they've been posting this graphic every day. So yeah, today is 87 days of literally no internet. So I check it every day.
And thank you, Goldie, for talking about this. Because one thing I hear from inside Iran, one of their main requests is to keep talking about that. Like they tell us that you don't understand how much the internet is not having internet is harming us and how difficult it is, because a lot of people think like, oh, the water, it's just the water and the food and not having money for healthcare, and it's all of that. But people think that the internet situation is less of a big deal compared to all of these things. And what the message that we're getting is like, no, this is terrible. Like they ask us to talk about that as well a lot. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. And then we have Valerie. Valerie, thank you so much. Just a super sticker. No comment, just supporting the channel. Thank you for that. And then we have MNSCSTX saying, love and respect you both. Thank you. Does talk about a deal take focus off the Iranian people? Well, we won't let it. And one thing I appreciate about President Trump is that he often comes back and talks about the Iranian people. But you're very correct, in a lot of mainstream media and Western media, the talk of the deal, you're very correct that it's actually a lot of the time does not include discussion about the Iranian people. And that's why, Murad Vaisi and Goldie and Prince Reza Pahlavi always remind me and inspire me to make sure I include in the list of stuff that I'm showing, because Goldie is like always bringing attention back to the Iranian people. So it is a good reminder to me to always include that in our discussions. And you guys do that all the time. Like you see some of the questions here is like, what is it like? How's the internet like? What is the food situation like? So you guys, even if the mainstream media is forgetting sometimes, and you're so correct, it does make them forget. But you guys in the chat, you don't seem to forget. And that's why we really appreciate you guys. You guys like really the best community on this topic I've seen anywhere online. So thank you for that. And then we have, oh wait, I didn't read it fully. Thinking of empty fridge and those feeding their kids, not themselves. Yes. And a lot of people are, when we get reports, here's something that we have to keep in mind. Like when I talk to my friends in Iran, when they manage to get internet, a lot of them are having difficulty paying for things, but they were middle class and they now have moved from middle class to poor. One thing that we are not hearing anything about, because they are completely in darkness, are people who were already poor. We're not hearing anything from them, and we don't know what they're experiencing, because a lot of these people didn't even have internet to begin with, right? So if my friends in Iran who were middle class before and now they're poor, we already had a huge poor population in Iran, and I don't have any idea what the hell they're dealing with right now. Right? Okay. And Jonathan, thank you so much for the super chat, saying maybe the main way to Pahlavi rule, economic
Armin,
shock. Yes.
Armin, I'm sorry. Hold
No,
off
it's okay.
on that post for a second, because can you bring up the Bill's post about his internet being restored in Iran? Oh, you unstarted. Okay, never mind.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. So look at this. So Iran International just posted an hour ago. Iran's president Pezeshkian has ordered the Ministry of Communications to restore international internet access to its pre-January status, the ministry's public relations chief said, according to Iranian state media. The IRGC-affiliated Fars News earlier questioned the administration's authority to issue such an order, arguing that the decision to restrict internet access was made by the Supreme National Security Council and must therefore be reversed by the same body. What do you make of that?
So Pezeshkian has no authority to change the internet. So I see people, guys, when you say, I see people saying, oh my God, wow, Pezeshkian, the decision on the internet has nothing to do with Pezeshkian. It has everything to do with the Supreme National Security Council and also Shoraya Aliye Fazoi Majazi, which I don't know, which is the Supreme Council for the internet, and also the Supreme Leadership. So this might be two things. It might be Pezeshkian virtue signaling, saying, I tried, they didn't let me, one. Or two, it might be the IRGC caving under pressure, because there are many people making money on the internet, and they're trying to not get the blame for it and getting Pezeshkian to do that for them, so that the pro-regime people who want the internet to be cut down remain cut, do not blame IRGC and use Pezeshkian as a scapegoat. It could be one of these two positions, in my opinion, unless there's any third thing. But whatever is happening, it's not up to Pezeshkian. Either somebody else has decided to bring the internet back, and they're just giving it to Pezeshkian so that he gets the blame for it, or Pezeshkian is virtue signaling and saying, I tried, it wasn't my fault, they didn't let me.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree with you. He has no authority, right? So I wrote the president, because I just posted this. The president of the Islamic regime is a puppet and has zero control or influence over the system or the decision to cut off internet access in occupied Iran. This is probably a desperate ploy by Pezeshkian to appear reasonable to the outside world. Let's see how it plays out. Armin, I mean, the only way that I could, the Islamic regime has been literally executing Iranians for having access to Starlink. Okay, like they've executed Iranians in the last 86, 87 days because they had Starlink and they were accessing the outside world using Starlink. I cannot see them reopening the internet unless they have found some way, some way using Chinese technology to further monitor Iranians, right? Like they're not going to open up internet access unless they've, found a new technology that Iranians still are not able to filter through in order to monitor everything, right? Because we know what's going to happen as soon as the internet is open. Iranians are going to start using VPNs again to come back on X and post, everything that's happening and post on social media and all these other places as well. So I don't know, but it's crazy that Pezeshkian is saying this, and I agree with your analysis. He's either virtue signaling to the outside world to try and maybe appear more reasonable, or he's being put up to this so that he can take the blame or something instead of the IRGC, because he has no authority over any of this. He's a puppet.
Right. And Goldie, as you mentioned before yourself, that other than the censorship element, a major part of this internet shutdown is the money-making element by IRGC as well, because Murad Vaisi's assessment was that his guess was that internet will never be restored again to its formal status unless the Islamic Republic falls, because too many people within the government are now making a lot of money by turning the internet business into a mafia, making it illegal, but then selling it themselves at much, much higher prices. And too many people within the regime are now making so much money from limiting the internet and selling it at a much higher price. And that, because it has turned into a mafia type industry, the financial interest makes it very unlikely for it to go back to how it used to be. That's what Murad Vaisi's assessment was.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good assessment as well. So, wow, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because there's a few different possibilities here. We don't know what's going on, but these are, every single one of these is a good analysis, good possibility. It's just a matter of seeing like which one it is and which one actually pans out. But no, that's very, very well thought out, Armin. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
So the reason why I unstarred them is because so I could keep track of where we were.
All good. All good. No worries.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right. Jonathan saying maybe the main way to Pahlavi rule, economic shock, uprising, IRGC crackdown, internal networks, international alignment, interim government, power. I mean, the first few steps is exactly how we know about the first few steps for sure. So economic shock, then uprising, then internal networks. Yeah, for sure. That's internal networks is basically the Garda Javidan, right? International alignment. I don't know how much of an alignment we could get beyond United States and Israel. I don't see them. That I think those are just the main two countries that we would have any alignment with on this. And then interim government power. Yeah, the only thing that I wish we could add to that was arming the Iranian people. That's what I wish I could add to that. And also, obviously, more kinetic military operations by United States and Israel would help during the uprising. To the uprising phase, if you add United States and Israel kinetic military operations so that they could protect, especially with drones, to protect the Iranian people during the uprising. That would be that would help stop a massacre like we saw in early January. And thank you, Jonathan. Thank you so much for the super chat. And wow, Goldie, look at this. DP
thank you so much, DP. So DP writes, "Hey Goldie, you and Armin should collaborate on a podcast or something similar with Nick Shirley. His platform is quite substantial, and this could potentially raise awareness about the truth about Iran and its people." Javid Shah. Thank you so much for the suggestion. I'll definitely look into that. I'm not too familiar with Nick Shirley. I know he's done like a number of videos or something. But let me make a note of that, DP, and I'm more than happy to look into that. And yeah, that could definitely be something, a possibility for the future. So let me just put it. Look into Nick Shirley.
If the platform is very big, there probably would it would be more likely if we just say Goldie, like it doesn't have to be me and Goldie, because usually big platforms like that would be interested in somebody as big as Goldie. So if we just focus on Goldie, that would be more likely to succeed than saying Goldie.
Well, we could always maybe he'd be willing to come to our show or something.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah. who knows? But thank you so much. Thank you for the suggestion and for the super chat. Very kind of you.
Yeah, and thank you.
And
For the suggestion.
Javicha.
Yes. And then we have the next super chat by Nelbani. Thank you so much, Nelbani, saying Islamic Republic try to pretend they're normal. Trump throws it in their face by offering they might join all the other countries in the region in the accords. Yeah, that's an interesting strategy. That could be what President Trump is doing. And I know exactly if that is a strategy, the Islamic Republic perspective, from their perspective, they're going to come be like, well, if you think normal is to be an ally of a genocidal apartheid Zionist regime, then you guys go be normal. Like, we'd rather not be normal if normal means like being friends with the genocidal regime. That's what they would say in response. Okay. You know, guys, I'm so familiar with these Durka Jihadi people that I could write their propaganda for them. You know, they could actually, the Islamic Republic could actually hire me to do their propaganda.
I mean, you are the Durka
Yes.
whisperer, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Thank you, Nelvani. And then Donnie Girl, thank you so much for the super sticker. Very kind. Very kind. Thank you so much for the support. And then we had PC saying, my mom cried in 1979 when she saw the Ayatollah return to Iran. I was not born till 1982, but she told me about it. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate her, you know, and she knew, unlike many people, she knew how devastating that was. So that's good. That's good that she knew that. Take care of her, by the way. I mean, I'm sure you do. You don't need my advice on that. Aaron Berger, thank you so much for the super chat, saying the royal family in Jordan still holds a waqf on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, a big cornerstone of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Yeah, I mean, to put it in context, they were the easiest for Israel to deal with. Okay, they are, compared to all the other Islamic country leaders, the royal family. The reason why they were put in charge of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem is because relative to other heads of these places, they were easier for Israel to be talked to, right? Because they were not as Durka. And many Muslims hate them because of that. Thank you for the super chat. And then Fleshy Interloper, thank you so much for gifting 5 people in our chat with memberships. Guys, Fleshy comes with gifts. Fleshy Interloper, thank you. And then we have the Mischief Guide saying, I was in the Iraq War and the regime supplied most of the quality explosives used against us. Exactly. More Americans should be reminded of this. So thank you for bringing it up. Why isn't Trump emphasizing this to Americans? To be fair, he did. Like many times. Like, he brought up the roadside bombs and everything. But you have a really good point. In fact, the way I think people should mention this is that the regime in Iran is responsible for the killing of more Americans than any other regime in modern history. I mean, United States, in history, actually. Okay, no other regime. Well, actually, no, in recent history, right? In recent history, forgot. Like, we have to. Since the in recent history. Let me go, because I remember Vietnam. I didn't want to. I thought like ever since World War II, but then we have Vietnam. Yes, okay. Since in recent history. All right, in the past 50 years, I would say. So just frame it like that. Just frame it like that. And Jink was saying that, oh my God, this is a propaganda. They were Iraqis, not Iranian, which shows that he has no clue what he's talking about. They were all proxies of the regime. So he has no clue what he's talking about. So, okay, and thank you again. And then we got another super chat from Ida. Thank you, Ida. Oh no, Ida is saying, "Sing, Armin, sing." Baby Yoda, baby Yoda, baby Yoda, baby Yoda. There, okay, that's the only thing I could. Okay, there you go. Okay. Thank you, Ida. Okay, yeah. All right, and then. Okay. That's the only thing I could do. All right. So we have Andra. Andra is saying Trump is trying to expose the Islamic regime and the Western world with these posts and delaying, I think. Yeah, I mean, it does get him. It does get the United States more political legitimacy for military operations to demonstrate that the Islamic Republic was given the opportunity to play nice and they didn't take it. So it does give you political legitimacy for sure. And thank you for the super chat. GeForce is saying, could Saudi have asked Trump to hold off on strikes until after Hajj is over? Yep, we discussed this exactly yesterday, and you could see that by the commercial. I mean, it could be. Okay, we're not saying it is, but it could be, because you could see like Saudi Arabia is putting a lot of commercials for this year's Hajj, showing like their air defense, showing like that there's going to be secure, showing all the systems that they have. That so this Saudi Arabia is really desperate right now to show Muslims worldwide that it's safe to come to Hajj, because the Hajj is a major source of revenue for Saudi Arabia, and the Saudis really care about their non-oil revenue because they're trying to diversify. So if the Hajj is threatened this year, they're going to be devastated. So that could be part of it. So Hajj is from May 24th to May 29th, which might be one reason behind the delay. And then, Project Vendetta in the chat. Goldie, look at that.
New Iran Revolution song just dropped. If you support a free Iran, check out my new song, Bavar Kun. So, guys, first of all, congrats, Project Vendetta. So, guys, go make sure that you, support Project Vendetta. This is the song. I've already included the song in the list of the Iran Revolution Live songs and videos. So it's in the playlist as well. And yeah, everyone, go watch and support Project Vendetta because they make some amazing music videos. And I look forward to watching this myself as well afterwards.
Yes.
I'll also share the link in all the chats here as well.
Yes.
So people can get the link.
Yes. Okay. So let's go to, and thank you so much for all your support, by the way, Project Vendetta. It's very helpful. Okay. So this, and then we go to the next super chat by Super Bakers, yes, are saying there are reports of internet being restored. Check Iran in International English and Al Jazeera reported. Goldie shared that. We have to wait. We don't know if that's actually because it's Pezeshkian, so we're not sure if that's going to happen or not, but might be. So we'll keep an eye on that.
And guys, the thing I also want to mention is that if it does reopen up, take that as a very suspicious sign, because we're talking about a brutal Islamic dictatorship. So if the internet opens up, it's not actually a win. That means the Islamic regime has something else, planned, and it has, another card up its sleeve. So you cannot take anything that they do as like a sign of good faith in any way, shape, or form. So if it does open up tomorrow, it could very well be some sort of trick.
Good point, Goldie. Great point. And Thank you again. And Ida with another super chat saying Memorial Day in USA. Thank you all troops and veterans for your service, prayers, and love to all. Yes. Here. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you so much. Thank you for keeping the world more safer and protecting not just Americans, but the whole world owes it to the American military for being more stable and more prosperous. Thank you so much. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Thank you.
And then we have Che saying, "Hey Armin, I just sent you a link to a funny video from the IRGC supporters. It's sad. I have sent it to your personal Facebook Messenger. Durud from what flag is that? I can't see the flag here. NL. Durud from. Let's see.
I don't think that's France.
Wait, is that Norway? No. Where is that? Guys, what's NL? I can't see it here. NL flag. NL.
Netherlands.
Netherlands. Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's Netherlands.
Okay. Okay, from Netherlands. Thank you so much. And okay, I will check it soon. I will check it soon. Thank you, and thank you for the support. I didn't even get a notification though, so I don't know why I didn't get a Facebook notification. All right, and then we have Matt saying, "I don't understand betraying the Iranian people by dealing with the Islamic regime. It's sending mixed signals and is an unnecessary compromise. Love from Texas, US." Well, there is no deal. I mean, like we could complain if there is a deal. So we're going to say by dealing with the Islamic regime, the only deal so far, as Goldie always mentions, seems that President Trump is interested in, is a deal for surrender. And if that's what we're heading towards, then that would be in the best interest of the Iranian people, right? So far, we don't have any reasons to think that President Trump is going for anything else other than a surrender deal. So far. But I appreciate, by the way, I really do appreciate your concern for the Iranian people. Like that's
Thank you.
Genuinely appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Clown World is saying you guys should try to get Benny Johnson's on Benny Johnson's show. He has a big audience and is quite connected in Washington. Again, if it's a big audience, then that's mostly Goldie would have a better chance to get on those shows. So yeah, Goldie, that's a good suggestion.
Okay, I'll definitely look into that. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, they won't have me on these shows because my channel is not that big as Goldie's, right? But thank you for the suggestion. So, DiMaggio saying, "Who are the Bazaris? What is their role?" The Bazaris are like business people, the private sector, like retail and the commerce, and this is an important segment of society in Iran because historically many of the uprisings, even before the current Islamic Republic, they were the reasons. They started the spark that caused the Islamic Revolution in 1979. They were a huge part of it. They were actually a huge force that basically toppled the Shah, toppled the Pahlavi dynasty. But that was their father of the fathers and the grandfathers of the current Bazaris. It's basically the commerce sector, the private commerce sector within society. And even though that segment of society was hugely responsible for bringing the Islamic Republic, because of the IRGC and the war of the IRGC against the private sector, making most industries part of the government, the private sector has been shrunk to the point where it's really hard for these Bazaris to survive. So now the new generations of the Bazaris in Iran are against the regime, which is a huge turning point in Iran's history, given their original role in bringing the Islamic Republic to power. So a lot of people pay attention to Bazaris and what they do because of the historical precedent of being such an influential force when it comes to being an important part of the revolution. And this year, this January, December 2025 and January 2026, it brought all of that importance back into attention, because the spark of the Iran's Lion and Sun revolution started with the bazaris coming into the streets.
With the merchants, yeah. So it started with the national, sort of with like a strike in Tehran, and that was due to the collapse of the rial, which reached like a historic low. And then the it's not a merchants guild; it's just the private sector. So people started shutting down their stores and striking, and then word spread like wildfire. And then literally within hours, the merchants in various sectors and industries, not just in the capital city of Tehran, but in various other cities, I think like Isfahan and Mashhad and Karaj and some others, they also started the strike and shut down. And then initially the chants were about the economy and things like that. However, within less than 24 hours, the chants went from being about the economy to being about overthrowing the Islamic regime and wanting the Shah to return back to Iran. So yeah, Armin's absolutely right. Like the entire spark of the current revolution was the Bazaris themselves and them going on strike.
So guys, I'm late for our community discussions, so I'm going to try to go through the super chats. And thank you so much for all the support, which is making me late. You guys are supporting us so much. Thank you for that. So let me go to next. PC was saying, "Oh, I'm sorry." PC saying,
condolences.
"Sadly, my
I'm
mom.
sorry to hear that.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Sadly, my mom passed away in 2016, but she would want Iran free." Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm sorry to hear that. John is saying IRGC proxies infiltrated Iraq government and caused so many problems. Yes, they did. Tied to so many issues, assassination, corruption, muta abuse of women and girls. And yeah, this is exactly why we tell Iraqis that our oppressors are your oppressors and our occupiers are your occupiers. So we're in this together. And yeah, thank you for that reminder. Bar is saying the Iraqi insurgency was funded primarily by RGC. Yeah, I mean, it's to the point that a huge part of Iraq's politics is now completely IRGC. I mean, they control a lot of the parliament, a lot of the politicians, a lot of the armed forces. Hashd al-Shabi is a huge influence in Iraq. And yeah, that's true. And thank you again, Ellie, with a super chat saying analysis from Dr. Ben Ari. He said that it's a bad sign that the Sunnis surrendered to the IRGC. It'll have bad consequences for Middle East. What do you think? I don't think they surrendered to IRGC. It depends on who you're talking about. If we're talking about Oman, or Oman is not Sunni, they're like their own weird Islamic sect. But if we're talking about the Qataris, then they have always surrendered. If you're talking about Bahrain and UAE, they are not going to surrender because for them the IRGC is an existential crisis and they can't tolerate them. If you're talking about Saudi Arabia, they are very terrified of IRGC, and they want them gone, but they don't want to be too aggressive because they're afraid of the IRGC's reaction. And Iraq, if you're talking about Iraq, well, I mean, Iraq has Shia, so you're talking about Sunni, so never mind about Iraq. But it depends on which country you're talking about. It's not all the same reaction. But good question, and thank you for the super chat. Fuchsa, Fuchsa, you told me how to pronounce it. I remember. Fuchsa is saying, I need you guys to put me on some rap in Farsi. Okay.
check out the Iran Revolution live playlist that I've made. There's a whole bunch of like rap songs there as well, and you can go check out those authors. I mean, Hamid Fad is a popular one. There's a whole bunch. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Right. Okay. And yes, Goldie makes the best list for everything you need.
I don't know if it's the best list. It's just a list.
It is the best.
You guys can use as
best.
It's the reference point.
Best. Okay. Dan is saying Benny Johnson is very anti-war. Well, if he's anti-war, he should support.
Maybe I won't go on his show then.
Yeah. No, yeah. No, but I'm saying if he's anti-war, then he should support President Trump's war against the Islamic Republic because the Islamic Republic is the main factor for all the war in the Middle East. So
Yeah.
if you're anti-war, you should be for toppling the Islamic Republic by whatever means necessary. And then John with the last super chat saying IRGC proxies are deep in coordination framework coalition in Iraq and run off judicial coup. Their illegitimate Tishreen movement hate them. Wow, John has really deep knowledge about Iraqi politics. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. So that was our last super chat. Goldie, is it okay if I quickly show people our discussion group so we can tell people that I'm going there? Okay. So guys, I'm gonna go. I'm already late, so I'm gonna say this fast. So this is our discussion group that I'm gonna go there right now. If you could, you could check the link to our group call here or in the calendar section. That's where we're going to be talking. I'm going to put the link to our discussion group in the chat. You could also get to it by scanning the QR code on the top left corner of the screen. And it's also in the bio of Liberty Politics YouTube channel. And yeah, that's it. And see you guys same time tomorrow. Goldie, do you want to make any announcements regarding any live?
I'm just doing my usual live stream later this evening, working on a few videos that I'm going to be uploading, and yeah, then going live later this evening. So
okay. And one last super chat. Wolf is saying, guys, don't trust Benny Johnson. He disrespected Prince Reza Pahlavi and didn't even know who he was. A lot of people on our side commented on his page against his disrespect. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for commenting and clarifying that. Really appreciate that. It means a lot to us.
Thank you. Thank you. And so, guys, see you same time tomorrow. Unless you come to the discussion group, then I'll see you in 30 seconds or so. Until next show, I'm Israel Chai. Long live America.
God bless America.
Javid Shah.
Javid Shah. Payande.
Payandera.
Iran. See you guys tomorrow.
غرق انقلاب است.
کشور ما، تاریخ ما ترسیده گر فرا گرفته، گویی اهورا مستا دوباره در نور خود مرا گرفته. هشتون سرودی سر میدهم باز فارغ از رنج و تشویش، ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. هن ای پدر هن ای پسر، برخیز و با ما شو همگام، تا درد آن تجربه تلخ ما را نکشیده در خواب. بگذار هر دم بغرند گرگ‌ها دم لباس میش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ای کارگر ای برزگر، راحت کنون ادامه دارد در این زمان که پرتو یزدان از هر سو بر تو میبارد. پس پیش به سوی آزادی از بحر خزر تا کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. خلقا به پا بهر دفاع از استقلال و آزادی، تا بشکنیم پشت ارتجاع تیریزی ویران آبادی. تا زنده سازیم سنت‌های ملی از من آیین و کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش.
با امید روزی که دلبشو انقلاب تموم بشه و ما در روشنایی، نور و سعادت مردم کشورمون غرق بشیم.
نه خارجی نه بیگانه، نه مستشارهای ویرانی، نه چیر خاران نه کاسه لیسان، فقط هم رزمان ایرانی. بابا شرافت میهنی بسازی بهر فرزندان خویش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. مردان بیایید داخل صف ما، اکنون که آغاز رویاست. دشمنان بدانید ما زنده هستی، بعد از ما هم ایران پابرجاست. آن روح شیطان ما را فریب داد با صد شعار مردمیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. پرچم ما پرچم ایران غرق خون شهیدان، روی شانه هامان حمل میکنیمش در هر خیابان و میدان. تا ماسک دلقکان را برداریم از روی تسبیح و ریش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش.